Hello there, very good afternoon and welcome to Lunchtime News on TV1. For the news first, where the people come first. I'm Martin Satya Nason. Let's start off with a look at the headlines for this afternoon.
Relationships with countries will be made considering the advantages and disadvantages to Sri Lanka, says President. Data submitted for electricity tariff revision inaccurate, UCSL writes to the CEB. 4,000 people dead due to the Israel-Palestine conflict. Heavy showers in the southwestern part of the island from tomorrow. Landslide warnings continue to be in effect in 10 districts. Red alert for Haldamulla. Sri Lanka take on Australia in a must-win encounter.
On to those stories in detail. US President Joe Biden has warned that any move by Israel to occupy the Gaza Strip would be a big mistake. The United States is Israel's main supporter and supplier of arms. It has also moved to carry a battle group close to the eastern Mediterranean to support Israel's operations.
What is the situation now? More than 1,300 people died in Israel and 3,227 others were injured in attacks by Hamas a week ago. Gaza's death toll has risen above 2,300, while more than 9,700 people have been injured. Israeli Defense Forces estimate that around 500,000 people have already left northern Gaza, following the warning issued by Israel to the 1.1 million residents of northern Gaza to leave the northern strip ahead of an expected ground invasion. Meanwhile, Hamas fighters have taken dozens of Israeli civilians and soldiers as hostages back to the Gaza Strip after their attack on Israel. According to reports, the Palestinian group has said that it plans to use the captured group of Israelis to strike a deal to get the Palestinians in Israeli prisons released. The United States said on Sunday that it fears an escalation of the war between Israel and Hamas and the prospect of Iran's ability of a new battlefront on the Israeli-Lebanon border. Further, the US President Joe Biden says that Hamas and the extreme elements of Hamas don't represent all the Palestinian people, and it would be a mistake for Israel to occupy Gaza again. Meanwhile, the United Nations Chief Commissioner says that the largest UN agency in the Gaza Strip is on the verge of collapse. The Gaza-based staff of the United Nations Relief and Works Agency, also known as the UNRWA, has relocated to Rafah near the border with Egypt. The Times of Israel reporting said that the Israeli Defense Forces announced that they are in the final stages of preparing for a significant ground operation in the Gaza Strip. This announcement came as the IDF, the Israeli Defense Forces, continue to carry out extensive airstrikes on targets associated with terrorist activities within the Gaza Strip. Meanwhile, permanent representative of Israel to the United Nations says that Israel has no interest to occupy Gaza or to stay in Gaza. Reacting to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak will be addressing the House of Commons later today. The Prime Minister is expected to reiterate the UK's total condemnation of Hamas's attacks on Israel and to set out the UK government's approach to the developing crisis.
The question is, what is the current situation of the Sri Lankans in Israel and Gaza? News First made many inquiries throughout the last few days on behalf of relatives who are anxious about their kith and kin in that region. The head of the Sri Lankan's consulate office in Palestine, Bernard Kure, mentioned that 17 Sri Lankans are living in the Gaza Strip and his office is working closely with the Red Cross to evacuate them. Meanwhile, the Sri Lanka Bureau of Foreign Employment also called a press conference and elaborated the present situation. Up to now, no one has made a request to return to Sri Lanka from the Sri Lanka Representative Office in Palestine or Sri Lanka Bureau of Foreign Employment. Except for the missing 2 people, all other Sri Lankans are in safe places. According to the information from the Sri Lanka Representative Office in Palestine, there are 3 Sri Lankan families living in the southern Gaza Strip. There are 17 people in total and they are in safe places. They are in constant touch with the Sri Lanka representative office in Palestine. Also, there are 6 Sri Lankans living in the West Bank region. They are also in safe place based on the information from the Sri Lanka representative office in Palestine. We have experienced these type of situations on prior occasions as well. The consular officers under the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and its officials are expecting to get the assistance from the IMO, ILO and Red Cross in the future. The subject minister has provided clear instructions on how to handle the matter if the situation escalates. A preliminary plan has been prepared. Also, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Sri Lanka Bureau of Foreign Employment have routed funds to the consulate officers to use during any urgent situations. President Ranil Wickremesinghe left for China on an official 4-day visit on Sunday night.
The president is set to discuss debt restructuring and participate in the conference to mark the 10th anniversary of the Belt and Road Initiative. This will be his first visit to China after taking office, and he will be visiting the country until the 20th of October. He will also hold discussions with many high-ranking Chinese officials on the sidelines of the conference. During his absence, the responsibilities of the ministries under his purview have been temporarily entrusted to the respective state ministers and a cabinet minister. State Minister Pramita Bandarathiannakul was appointed as the acting Minister of Defence. State Minister Ranjit Siambalapitiya was appointed as the acting Minister of Finance. State Minister Kanaka Herath was appointed as the acting Minister of Technology. State Minister Anupa Pascal was appointed as the acting Minister of Women and Child Affairs. Minister of Wildlife and Forest Resources Conservation Pavitra Waniyarachi was appointed as the acting Minister of Environment.
Sri Lankan President Ranil Wickremesinghe says he will continue to maintain bilateral relationships with the foreign countries based on the advantages and disadvantages of such relationships to Sri Lanka. He made these remarks during an interview with China Global Television Network.
විපදටපත් වන රට ගොඩ ගන්න මං ක්‍රියා කරන්නේ. දැනට ඒ වැඩ කටයුතු බොහෝ දුරට සාර්ථක වෙලා තිබෙනවා. අපේ උද්දමනය අඩු වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. බොහෝ ලෙස අඩු වුණා. අපේ රට තුල විශාල ආර්ථික පරිවර්තනයක් අපි සිදු කරනවා. ඇත්ත වශයෙන්ම ජීවන බරක් තියෙනවා තාම. ඒ ජීවන බරක් ගන්න ක්‍රමානුකූලව අඩු කරවා ගන්න.
我们也听到了一些其他的声音，比如说有一些西方的媒体，他们就在炒作斯里兰卡可能会陷入所谓的债务陷阱。您怎么来看待这种炒作？
නෑ අපි දකින්නේ අපේ වැඩ කටයුතු අපි කරගෙන යනවා. අපිට වාසි නම් අපි ඒවට ඇතුල් වෙනවා. අවාසි නම් ඇතුල් වෙන්නේ නෑ. ඉතින් මේ රටට වාසියක් තියෙන නිසා තමයි චීන එක්කේ ගණදෙනු කරලා තියෙන්නේ. ඒත් අද ලෝකේ බලවතුන්ගේ විශාල ඝට්ටනයක් තියෙනවා. කොහොමද ඒක වැඩ කටයුතු කරන්න කියලා. ඒ නිසා චීනේ ආරම්භ කරපු BRI එක ගැනත් විශාල ප්‍රශ්න ඇති කරලා තියෙනවා. ඒ අනුව තමයි ලංකාවේ හම්බන්තොට වරායට එහෙම එක එක චෝදනා කරලා තියෙන්නේ. ඒත් අපි මේ වැඩ කටයුතු වලින් සෑහීමකටපත් වෙන නිසා අපි ඉදිරියට යනවා.
那接下来我们就要谈一谈汉班托塔港了，因为确实有一些个别的西方的政客他们在炒作中国威胁论，妄称中国要在这个地方设立军事基地。您会怎么样来回应这个问题？
හම්බන්තොට වරාය සාමාන්‍ය වාණිජ්‍ය වරාය. කොළඹ වාගේ මේ වරාය කළමනාකාරත්වය අපි පිටට දීලා තියෙනවා. කොළඹ අපි දැන් විශේෂයෙන්ම සවුත් ඒෂියා ගේට්වේ කියන සමාගමටත් චයිනා මර්චන්ට් සමාගමටත් ඉන්දියාවේ අඩානි සමාගමටත් බාර දීලා තියෙනවා මේ වැඩ කටයුතු කරන්න. මෙහි මේ වැඩ කටයුතු අරගෙන දියුණු කරන්න ඉදිරියට ගෙනියන්න චයිනා මර්චන්ට් සමාගම තමයි ඉදිරිපත් වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. ඒක තුල නීතිය ක්‍රියාත්මක කරන්නේ පොලිසිය. ඒක තුල කස්ටම්ස් ක්‍රියාත්මක කරන්නේ ලංකාවෙන්. ඒක තුල ආරක්ෂාව ඇති කරන්නේ ලංකාවෙන්. ඒතයි බලන්නේ මේක කේන්ද්‍ර ස්ථානයක් කරලා දැන් ආයෝජන කලාපය විශාල එකක් එහි ඇති කරන්නේ.
计划中国的科考船实验6将会在这个月访问斯里兰卡，并且跟斯里兰卡展开为期3个月的水域研究。可是，在这个问题上，也有一些个别的国家向斯里兰卡 施压。我注意到斯里兰卡的外长在纽约参加联大会议的时候，已经非常明确地表示说，斯里兰卡是一个中立国家，对待所有的国家都一视同仁，一律平等。那您在这个问题上的立场是什么样的？
අපේ රටේ ප්‍රතිපත්තිය විදේශ ඇමතුමා ප්‍රකාශ කරේ චීන එක ගණදෙනු අපි චීන එක කරනවා. ඇමරිකාව එක ගණදෙනු ඇමරිකාව එක කරනවා. ඉන්දියාව එක්ක ගන්න දෙනු ඉන්දියාව එක්ක කරනවා. ඒවා අපි මිශ්‍ර කරන්නේ නැහැ. අපි ස්වාධීන රටක් හැටියට අපිට තියෙන වාසි අවාසි දිහා බලලා ඒ රටවල් එක්ක අපි ගන්න දෙනු කරන්නේ. ඉතින් එතුමා ඇත්ත කිව්වේ ඒකද? කොහොම අනික අපි බලන්නේ මුහුදු ගවේෂණයේදී අපි කොහොමද හැම එක්කෙනාම ඒකාබද්ධව කරන්න.
当前世界面临100年未有之大变局，习近平主席提出了全球发展倡议、全球安全倡议和全球文明倡议。那您对这3大倡议是怎么来理解的呢？
අපි අත් වශයෙන්ම සීජීපින් ජනාධිපතිතුමා ප්‍රකාශ කරපු හැටියට අපිට මීට වඩා සම්බන්ධ වෙලා වැඩ කටයුතු කරන්න තියෙනවා ලෝකේ. ඒ නිසා මේ යෝජනා ගැන අපේ සහයෝගය තියෙනවා. කොහොමත් ඉතින් අපේ ශිෂ්ටාචාර එක්ක අවුරුදු 10 ගණනක සම්බන්ධයක් තියෙන්නේ. අපි ඒකත් ඉදිරියට ගෙනියන්න ඕනේ. චීනෙන් ලංකාවට ආව එකත් ලංකාවෙන් චීනයට ගිය එකත් පරණ සම්බන්ධය තියෙන එකට මේ අලුත් යෝජනා අපි එකතු කරගෙන ඉදිරියට යන්න එකයි තියෙන්නේ.
Sri Lanka's Foreign Minister Ali Sabri says it is important for the country to make the right calls in important investment decisions. He made these remarks in an interview with Channel News Asia.
Much has been said about China's role and its investment in Sri Lanka. How would you describe China's relationship with Sri Lanka in its time of crisis?
It is very important for us. China's investment is very, very important because the countries like Sri Lanka need investment. In 2009, when we defeated LTTE and brought peace to this country, we were in need of massive investment. We didn't only invite the Chinese, we made it open to the whole world. So some of the other countries would want to wait and see, but China took the risk, invested, and I thought we are grateful for that. And going forward for the next phase of our development is growth oriented. Growth means somebody need to put money into it. That means investment. So I think amongst the major players right now in the world, China has a hefty pocket. They are waiting for investment. We are part of the strategic part of their BRI initiative. So for us, Chinese investment are important and we look forward for that investment.
How concerned are you that China's proposed BRI initiative has been used as sort of a tool to create debt traps for its recipient countries?
No, I don't think so. What are they going to achieve out of the debt trap? You know, if you put your money into a country for investment, obviously they want returns. So if you want return, you want to see that that country succeeds. So what we have gone wrong sometime, probably identifying the priorities into which area you put your investment. So that is where it is important for Sri Lanka to take that right call right now in taking those very important investment decisions. I think Sri Lanka is very clear right now. We will no longer go and borrow money. What we are asking is for investment, partnership, opportunities to grow together. So I think we have learned that lesson during the last because of this crisis.
Does Sri Lanka feel like it's caught up in a big power play?
We stand in the middle. We don't take sides. We don't want tension with anyone. We will not allow anyone to use our backyard to threaten any other country or to build their military bases. That's for sure. But we have strategic relationship with all of them. Our biggest market is US. That is where our products are going. India, our neighbor and biggest trading partner, and last year India has helped us to bail out us from a very difficult situation. China is our long-standing friend, both in international arenas. They have stood by Sri Lanka in thick and thin, and also biggest investor in the country. So all in all these countries are important for us. And then our relationship is very transparent, and we have always asked for peaceful settlement of all disputes.
The Public Utilities Commission has informed the Ceylon Electricity Board that the data provided in the request to increase electricity bills does not match the current state of affairs. This was communicated in a letter to the General Manager of the Ceylon Electricity Board.
The letter requests the CEB to provide the proper data prior to October 18th of 2023. According to the Public Utilities Commission, the data included in the requests made by the CEB to the PUCSL on the 4th of September and the 26th of September do not match the current state of affairs. The PUCSL notes that although the daily requirement of electricity in September was projected to be 44.7 gigawatts, the actual electricity consumption was 41.01 gigawatts. Meanwhile, electricity production levels have increased compared to the data provided by the Ceylon Electricity Board. The PUCSL also notes that the projections made by the CEB on electricity produced from the country's coal power plants are also inaccurate. Against such a backdrop, the PUCSL has requested new data from the CEB before it can consider their request to increase electricity tariffs.
The General Secretary of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna, Attorney-at-Law Sagara Karyavasam says the SLPP is not afraid of facing any election.
පහුගිය කාලේ අපේ පක්ෂයට ඊටාම දැඩි ඒ වගේම නිර්දය ප්‍රහාර එල්ල වුණා විවේචන ඊටාම අසාධාරණ විවේචන එල්ල. ඔබලා මුහුණු පොත්.
During the past, our party was attacked heavily. There has been severely unjustified criticisms. No matter what you communicate on social media, the youth that take to the streets can see that the roads in their village, the science labs in their schools, the hospitals, the community centre of the village and the transport facilities in the village were established by people in our party. Likewise, the SLPP is a party that consists of leaders who were part of large development projects in the country. The people who robbed banks are with these groups who criticize us. The youth can observe these when they take to the roads. As a result, we are not afraid to face any elections, and by facing elections, we will show the strength of our party.
අපි කිසිදු ආකාරයකින් මැතිවරණයකට මුහුණ දීමට බය නැහැ. අපි බලාපොරොත්තු වෙමින් ඉන්නවා. ඉතා ඉක්මනින් මැතිවරණ
Samagi Jana Balawege MP Chaminda Vijayasiri notes that the present government does not have any plans to resolve the current economic situation in the country. There is one main factor that the citizens of this country must understand. The people who are with President Ranil Wickremesinghe are a group of thieves who have brought this country to this level. This country cannot move forward with such a group. The reason for the delay in getting the International Monetary Fund's disbursement of the second tranche of the Extended Fund Facility Program is Ranil Wickremesinghe's inability to make the countries politically and economically clean. Many members of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna are continuing to engage in corrupt activities behind Ranil Wickremesinghe. Irrespective of whether it was electricity generation or the importation of fuel, the usual corrupt activities are taking place. Electricity tariffs have been increased, taxes have been increased, and all other costs have been increased. They have made an environment for these thieves to engage in corrupt activities, but there are no plans to develop the country. We see this as the main reason for the delay in getting the International Monetary Fund's disbursement of the second tranche of the Extended Fund Facility. Issuing a weather advisory, the Department of Meteorology notes that showers are expected in the southwestern part of the island from tomorrow until the 20th of this month.
Showers or thunder showers will occur over most parts of the island after 2 p.m. Fairly heavy showers above 50 millimeters can be expected at some places in Uva, eastern, northern and north-central provinces. A few showers may occur in coastal areas of the western and southern provinces during the morning too. The general public are kindly requested to take adequate precautions to minimize damages caused by temporary localized strong winds and lightning during thunder showers.
People living in the low-lying areas of the Matara district continue to suffer due to floods that have devastated the area.
About 150 acres of paddy fields in Hambantota, Netolpitia, Nalakama West area are underwater due to the overflowing of the Kirama Oya. Our news first correspondent said that these fields were close to being harvested. Around 150 families were affected. Due to the decrease in the rain in Kandy, only one sluice gate of the Polgola reservoir has been opened. The engineering officer in charge of the Polgola Mahavali Dam said that a water capacity of 1,970 cubic feet per second is being released into the lower Victoria reservoir. A mound of earth has collapsed on a house in the Ratmalgasvav area in Kinigama Bandaravela yesterday evening. Although the residents were inside the house when the mound collapsed, there were no injuries. However, the house was damaged. Meanwhile, 2 schools belonging to the Haldamulla Divisional Secretariat have been closed today due to the risk of landslides. The 2 schools that have been closed are Maria Badda Vidyalaya and Makaldaniya Vidyalaya. Haldamulla Divisional Secretary KAJ Priyangika said that although several families who were evacuated due to the risk of landslides are being housed in Ganesha Vidyalaya, children's classes are being carried out. The landslide warnings issued for 10 districts continue to be in effect. The National Building Research Organisation has issued level 1 and 2 warnings for the Badulla, Galle, Hambantota, Kaluthara, Kegol, Matale, Mathara, Nuwara and Ratnapura districts. A landslide amber alert has been issued for the Haldamulla Secretariat Division of the Badulla district. The National Building Research Organisation says that people in those areas should be aware of rockfalls, landslides, land subsidence and mound collapses.
A suspect died in a shootout with police in Sapugaskanda earlier this morning. The police noted that the man was the main suspect in the shooting of a fish businessman's house in Polpitimukulana in Kadana. The suspect had opened fire at the police officers after the police received a tip-off that he was hiding in the Samidumavata in Pamanuvilla, Sapugaskanda. The suspect died after the police returned fire at him. The deceased was identified as J. Rajarajasingham, a 49-year-old resident of Angoda. The remains of the deceased are currently lying at the Kiribati Base Hospital while police are conducting further investigations. Day 36 of the second leg of the LOLC DAVIA program got underway, centering schools in the Tirukkovil, Mahaoya and Dehattakandiya zonal education officers of the Ampara district. In the first leg of the LOLC DAVIA program, school books and stationery items were provided to over 1,000 schools with less than 50 students. The second leg of the LOLC DAVIA program is providing school books and stationery items to schools with less than 100 students. This worthy initiative is a collaboration between the LOLC group and the Ministry of Education. Students from schools including the Semmantapule Ganesha Vidyalaya, Thirakene Tamil Vidyalaya, Arunodaya Vidyalaya, Vishwatulsi Vidyalaya, Kanchikudiyari Ganesha Vidyalaya, Tirupati Government Tamil School and Vadikumura Vidyalaya were distributed school books and stationery items for a period of 1 year. School books and stationery items were also gifted to students at the Dehattakandiya zonal education. The LOLC DAVIA program will continue to create a bright future for the country's student population. Sri Lanka will take on Australia today in an important game of the ICC Cricket World Cup 2023. The chances of either side qualifying for the semi-finals will depend on a win today, as South Africa, India and New Zealand have all performed strongly in the tournament.
The match will be played in Lucknow. Kusal Minnis will take over as captain of the side after Dasun Shanaka was ruled out of the remainder of the tournament due to an injury he sustained during the match against Pakistan. Chamika Karnaratne has been called in to replace Dasun Shanaka. Sri Lanka are currently placed 8th at the points table, while Australia are placed last after their defeats against India and South Africa. Australia has the upper hand over Sri Lanka in one-day internationals, winning 63 out of the 108 games played, while Sri Lanka has emerged victorious in 36 games. Australia was defeated by South Africa in its only outing at the venue, while Sri Lanka will play its first game at the venue. The match is set to commence at 2 p.m. Sri Lankan time today. Cricket fans can watch and listen to all the action of the World Cup via the MTV MBC networks, the official local broadcast rights holder of the tournament. The matches are also being streamed live on www.sirasatv.lk.
From that, we bring to a close this edition of Lunchtime News on TV1. For details of these stories and much more, simply log on to our website www.newsfirst.lk. For the News First, where the people come first, I'm Martin Satyanesan. You take care and good day.